Cease to Do. That's my channel. Founder of Bit Made Locksport Group for Vets. Co-founder with Not Too Dead, still kicking, of the Shackleton Cuff Club. But what I am is a collector of hobbies and skills, and I love learning how to do things. And that's how I got into Locksport. That's how I got into escapes. A long time ago, that's how I got into like juggling and doing magic and riding a unicycle and things like that. So, apologize. Get myself right as I do things. Mr. Nola, how you doing? We're gonna learn how to juggle, my friend. So, basic, concept of juggling is 3 balls, 3 objects, 3 bean bags, and it's the art of. Oh, I'm gonna take the sunglasses off because those do get in the way of the vision. And there you go. Basic infinity pattern in juggling. There's more of a circle or cascade pattern that involves throwing them up and passing them over. In all honesty, I always thought it was lesser. I never practiced it much, so I didn't get good at it. I started juggling when I was 15, and I've been juggling ever since. It's kind of like a natural, just part of my like natural issue, within my body. So now, to learn to juggle, first of all, you have to understand you're going to start with 2 balls in one hand, or 2 bean bags, or whatever, one in the other hand. Which hand do you think you start with? One with 2. So, what you're going to do is you're going to toss that one up over to the other hand. Now, in the process tossing that up, when it's about there in the arc, you need to make this hand empty so it can catch the ball. So what you're doing is making an exchange. To begin to learn that, the best thing you do is start with 1 ball. Now, the best book or tome out there, or whatever you want to call it, instructional manual, is Juggling for the Complete Klutz. It's very good. It can teach anybody the basic patterns. And one thing it teaches you is within the hand is to understand within the infinity pattern is that you catch on the outside, and then in the book they tell you to dip to the inside, and that's where you throw. So when you throw, you can kind of throw here and catch out there. And when this hand comes back, it's going to throw out there. In each hand, you're going to throw here, circle back around here to catch. Dip down, or well, scoop down is what they say, to throw to that point. Now, in all honesty, when you're really juggling, as I'll show you, it's less of a scoop, and that's why I say dip. So you're going to catch here, dip down, and come back up and throw to the inside. So you're going to catch on the outside, dip down, throw to the inside. And the whole point of that is when these balls are crossing back and forth in this plane, you're altering where they're falling so they don't run into each other. If you start running into throwing the balls this way, they're going to start knocking into each other and screwing up your pattern. So what you're going to do to begin practicing is just take 1 ball, learn to kind of take here, dip and throw here, catch here, dip and throw here, catch here. You just want to get it to where it's an absolute fluid figure 8. And as you get the motion controlled, ooh, that's another good point. When you practice juggling, you're going to drop. If you're not dropping, you're not practicing. If you're not practicing, you're not getting better. So don't get frustrated by dropping your whatever you're juggling. It's part of the process. I've been doing this a long time. Even at my peak, I dropped all the time. You just have to be prepared for it. So inside throw, outside catch. Inside throw, outside catch. It's kind of almost like a Mr. Miyagi thing. Paint the fence, sand the deck, all that kind of thing. When you get that down and you feel comfortable with that, and I'm honestly tell you, I haven't met anybody that practices that long enough before they move on to the next step. So the next step is with 2. And in juggling for the complete klutz, they refer to it as the exchange, and that's what it is. So you're going to have ball in each hand, and like I said, I'm going to throw this one up, but when it's at this part of the arc, at the peak of the arc falling down, I have to release this hand of what's in it so it's free to catch what's coming down. So what you're going to do is that. And this is what you do. You just practice the exchange. You don't throw this hand until that one's up there. It's just a nice little, see? Drops happen. Nice little 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then after you do that a while, you start with the other hand. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And you'll find it's a lot more awkward. Ooh, I went right hand. It's a lot more awkward with your left hand. So feel free to practice more with that one. So after you've done a lot of working with the exchange, it's when you're going to grab 3. You're going to go 2 in your dominant hand, 1 in your non-dominant hand, whatever lesser hand, whatever the hell you call that. And you're going to start off here, and you're going to just throw it. And what it is, see, drops. What it is just a back and forth exchange. And you're moving these in this infinity pattern. So that's what you're doing with it. Now, once you get comfortable with that, you can start playing with it. And this is a hard, if I had a better camera angle, I could do a little more. But you can start overhand grabbing them. Which I have not obviously practiced. Ooh, dropping all kinds of stuff. So, I'm going to shake it out. It's another thing, if you find yourself in like this moment where you're dropping everything, everything's frustrating, you're not getting it, just take a break. Don't stop your practice. Take a break. And then take a breath and reset and get going again. Another common thing is when you are starting to learn to juggle, they tend to go forward on you. Everybody kind of throws them away from their body. I can't demonstrate it here, but if you have a flat wall, juggle about 1 to 1.5 feet away from that flat wall, and that will keep, anytime they drift away from you, they'll hit the wall. It'll help control you into juggling in a flat plane in front of yourself. And then if you want to actually play with it, you can learn to lean into it and bounce them off the wall into your juggling pattern. So it's another one of those tricks and fun things you can do, especially if you have like a hard rubber ball. You can do it that way. Or if you have hard rubber balls, you can actually juggle down off the ground, up off a ceiling. You can get crazy with that kind of thing. So let me pull this back up here and see if I can throw a little bit of an odd pattern. Like I said, when you get juggling, you have, this is, a regular pattern. You can be doing that overhand grab, which I haven't done in a while, actually. It's a very light juggling beanbag. It's more of a hacky sack. So as soon as they hit wrong, they tend to fly a little weird for me. Whereas, let me give you this as an example. These are lock cylinders. They just have more, even though they're smaller, they have a little more weight, a little easier to just juggle in a basic pattern because they won't bounce off my fingers or bounce off my hands. They will bounce off each other very well though. So it's a consideration when you're going. You want something decently weighted, not too light, because it's going to be frustrating to do that. Let's see, what other tips can I give you? Here's I'm sure someone else has done it, but when you're gearing, here's the figure 8. You can always go over the top. Hopefully you won't drop it. So you can just start going in the figure 8 over the top. Something these are just too light. I need a heavier beanbag to be able to do this. All right. So one of the other things that when you get juggling, it's a good thing to practice. It's a good thing to learn. It's a good thing to push yourself with. Is trying to go 2 in one hand. See if I can get this again. I haven't practiced in so long. I should have long before this. And I'm gonna I'm gonna do this real quick, and then I'm gonna take a second and check the chat. I haven't checked that yet, but there's a little 2 in one hand. And there it went. Nice thing about 2 in one hand is if you can get, 2 in that hand going too, then that's when you start getting into juggling 4. There are ways to switch the 4 between the 2 hands, but it starts getting a little more complex for that. The basic learning to juggle 4 is 2 in each hand. And when you get comfortable with the 2 in each hand, you can kind of, switch a couple of them here and there, not too hard, kind of like change up what's going on. So just to talk juggling, there are other things you can juggle, like cigar box juggling. There's disc juggling, or ring juggling, and there's also club juggling. So I can't get too nuts with this. I'm kind of inside. Again, not a lot of practice, but I will kind of explain what's going on with that. So when you're doing juggling clubs, it's flip. And the best thing you can do, learn how to do it, is just sit there and flip it a bunch of times. Catch the weight. Now, the nice thing about juggling implements is they tend to be weighted in a way that it'll flip around really nice. You don't have to put extra snap into the flip. It's kind of weighted to go there for you. When you feel comfortable with the flip, just a nice little snap, then you start snapping it back and forth between your hands. And as you can see, I'm not getting it consistent. That one went forward. You want it consistent. I don't want to have to move my hands to catch the club. I want to flip the club into my hand. Now, when you get 3 going, you are going to have to do, slight variations and moderations with your hands, no matter what you're juggling. But overall, the control you're looking for something like that is flip it into your hand, not chase it with your hand. Because that precious half a second or second that you're chasing it with, then you have to throw it, you're going to be out of position. So if you catch it out of position, you have to bring it back to position or throw it from out of position. So it's better to have your technique right. And then when little, things happen, you can change it up. So again, you're going to start with 1, then you're going to move to 2. You're going to work on the exchange. And hopefully I don't break anything trying this. A little exchange, little exchange, little exchange. There we go. Let's see if I can snap quick. 3. I don't know if I have enough room. Try to get low here to do this. All right, that's 2, 3 quick jugs, kind of showing you what's going on. The nice thing about clubs is when you get into this, you have other trick variations that you're playing with, such as, well, there you go. I can flip it 1.5 times. I can flip it 2 times. I can reverse flip it. We can use, there's sideways flips that you can do back and forth between the hand, which puts different flair, especially with very colorful big clubs as they're flipping around in front of you. Beyond that, I have done torches and machetes, and then I actually figured out a way to do flaming machetes really well. They stayed on fire longer than you would get from just dipping a machete in kerosene or coating it with something. So, and I've done all of that on a unicycle back, 30 years ago. So that's my history with juggling. So let's just come back, and we're gonna go back to talking about starting with 3 balls. We'll revisit what we're doing with 1 ball. You're going to take it, you catch on the outside, you dip, you throw to the inside. Ooh. It goes up, comes down, you catch it on the inside, you dip, catch, dip, catch, dip, catch, dip, drop. That's part of practice. So I'm going to take a quick look at whatever's going on in the chat. So please forgive me leaning in here. No, I need both hands. Back to your comment. Rock out with your lockout. Yep. These are hacky sacks right here I'm using for. They're good. They're a little light, actually. Honestly, if you're learning, don't use hacky sacks. Use something heavier. A heavier beanbag. Beanbags are better. They form to your hand a little better. They don't bounce off, and then when they drop, they don't bounce and roll away. So a beanbag's way better Hey, what's up, Watershed? Nico? How you doing, brother? We're just, I do different things. I like to share what I'm doing, man. So, we'll do a quick, I don't think I've juggled in a few moments. So let's see how long a little bit of juggling I can rock. Now, I will tell you, juggling is amazing for building up your hand-eye coordination, and it's pretty much the absolute best arm cardio you can put into your physical therapy or just general exercise routines. Watershed, I have juggled with leg irons on my wrists, and I've been able to juggle for a couple seconds with regular cuffs on my wrists. So I have been practicing that. I'm starting to get to there. Phantom out. Yeah, Henry, go to bed. Henry, Henry, it is time for bed. 1 a.m. is sleep time. All right. Well, you know what? That's been Juggling with Stu. I hope that was informative. We're going to do some, videos and stuff like that. Kind of give you a little more instruction that you can go back over. But just one of the skills I have. I'd like to share it with people. You guys all have a great day. Thank you. Love y'all.